of their students.
Absolutely. Now, how did all you guys get involved with Code Hero? Like, how did you meet Alex, or did you know him from like before you guys started working together?
So I met Alex in a place called Noisebridge Hackerspace. It's in San Francisco. It's kind of like a community center.
You can see this. This is the little red symbol that you'll see on their door on the street if you find the entrance. He's got one right on the laptop too.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's a place where people that like to make things will go, and there's space there. Because in San Francisco, your apartment is tiny.
Yeah. That is very true.
And we were talking about kind of what we wanted for the future and how we were going to make it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
One of the first things we ask people if they're going to join the team is, how do you feel about bunk beds?
Nice.
So I was working at a school already doing mobile game development in their research division. And I already had wanted to create something like what Alex is doing now, which is basically digitalizing education. And so, you know, the people I was working with, they had different plans, and so I decided to come out here and start working on something related. And then I met Alex, and pretty much it's history.
Beautiful.
I also met Alex at Noisebridge, and there were many times when I'd pass by and I'd see him falling asleep at the keys, because he was doing quite a bit of late night programming, and eventually he showed me a little bit about Code Hero and what his vision was and what he intended to make, and I was hooked. It was interesting.
Awesome. And it's been love ever since, pretty much.
Yep. Love at first code. And our team, it threatens to grow faster than we can manage it. We just started talking with our first producer. And what we're really excited about is that basically everybody is excited about game development right now. The whole world, not just in the Code Hero context. The whole world is getting into indie and realizing games can change the world, using games to educate. Jane McGonigal talks about having a Nobel Peace Prize to someone who uses a game to change the world as her goal. And so what a lot of people are doing if they want to get involved in this project is they're just starting to make their own game. That's ultimately, if you want to join our team, we are a team, make your own game. That is the movement. And work with your friends to make theirs. So we actually are participating in teaching kids at events called hackthefuture.org. If you want to check that out, if you want your kids in the San Jose area to participate. We have a weekly class at Noisebridge called GameBridge Unidiversity. It is games are a bridge to teach people university, but to make it universal for all. That's what that means. And we have an event tonight. It's at 7 p.m. The Bay Area Users Group is for Unity is holding a hackathon. You know, GDC has been an incredible week where we all get like so many business cards and opportunities, and at the end our feet hurt and we just miss code. And we get to all sit down tonight and tomorrow all day at a place called Next Space, which was what was the address?
28 2nd Street.
28 2nd Street. And if you look on meetup.com, you should be able to find the Bay Area Unity Users Group. So those are all things in the Bay Area. And tonight, if you're in the Bay Area, if you're at GDC, you can come out and participate. But wherever you are, there's makerspaces. And if you go to, well, I can't say the domain name without admitting they're actually hackerspaces. Hackerspaces.org. We call them maker stuff for parents or people.
Yeah, the word hacker kind of has like a negative social context to it, but it's just people that like to really learn how stuff works and tinker with it and make it their own.
So it's really about creating things and leaving behind a path for other people to follow you, which is what we're trying to do with this game as well, is empower indie game developers to learn from our mistakes, learn from our successes, and become successful themselves.
Yeah. So, we're game journalists, and GDC is like it's a little different for people like us. Versus actual developers. So I'm kind of curious, what's it like as an indie developer being at the Game Developers Conference?
Yeah.
Very different from previous years.
Yeah.
The first time I came to indie developer conferences, it was, to paraphrase, Democritus said, he invented the atomic theory of atoms. And he came to Athens, and no one knew me, is what he said. So no one then appreciated his idea, and it was like thousands of years before anyone thought he was right. But that was a bit what it was like when we first started going to these. And the first people I met Mike Surix. I walked into GDC a few years ago. He was the guy with the mohawk and the MIDI jack cyberpunk like tattoo on his neck. And there were just those few awesome people. And that's what it's like when you first get here, when you first enter the industry. So many people in those career rooms and those job fairs. And they feel like they're just bouncing off of those resumes. There's a joke, like, where do the resumes go? To the incinerator. Because the way you really get a job is you find a way to not be another resume, and you find a way to get people's attention. And one way to do that is to raise $170,000 on Kickstarter in 13 days. And so this is totally different. Every one of these T-shirts, people come up to us and just high-five us and say, "Did you make Code Hero?" Eventually, when we ship all the T-shirts to the several thousand people that donated at the level for T-shirts, the donate level for T-shirt is 42373, $42.37. That is short for Arite. If you in elite speak, 1337 is what you elite. Incidentally, David Helgeson, the CEO of Unity, the engine that we use, he's one of the people that donated $1,337. And I took a screenshot of that on Facebook. I was chatting him with at the time because he's been real supportive. Put that up on the front page. Develop Magazine ran with it. I met a guy in a bar, Mr. Tips, and he is the one who tweeted that on his first week on the job at Develop Magazine. He was like a new guy. He didn't know how to make his mark there. He just said, "Hey, you should cover this story." Boom, Develop blew us up and just spread. So this is a very different experience. And what we need to do now is give people exactly the game that they all believe in and that we believe in. So that's why we're talking to producers and people and mentors. We've talked to some other game CEOs who've made MMOs before. Our biggest goal with this is to do something that every first-time indie, as you know, the first thing you should try to make is an MMO. And in my defense, I actually made my first game was an MMO when I was like 13. Like I said, that first game that I made in a couple of days because I found a tool that was easy to use. So with such a big challenge, even an MMO is hard, but there's a formula that if you do it all and you do it right, you can make this game. Some people have said to us at the very beginning and in previous years, "That's crazy. That's impossible. There's no way you could make that." And I used to go to the Unite conference the first time I went, 2009, and I said, "I'm going to make Code Hero, and it's a game that teaches people to make games. It's going to be Unity inside of the Unity editor, or the Unity editor inside the Unity game engine." And there was a lot of strange looks. And 2008 or 2010, still some strange looks, but like, wow, he's back. Like, this guy's not going away. And then 2011, people saw the live demo, and they started to be impressed. This year it was very different because we skipped Burning Man, we skipped all the fun stuff we'd want to do, and we just like watched it on TV, like gritting our teeth, and just wrote code. And by hitting that first milestone, like that's your first shipping thing. Whatever your project is like, you have to hit that first thing that gets your attention, gets you notice. And ever since then, it's just been up to what it is now, which is the world wants to help make this.
Just building momentum as you go along.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you guys have any questions you want to throw in, Leslie? Or you got?
My mind's been blown right
now.
Oh,
yeah.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. Way too much
okay.
smartness.
Every modern's dream.
Yeah, I met Alex, and the first thing that happened is you walked in to your house with a box, and you said something along the lines of, "I went to wizard school when I was like 12 or 13." And then you proceeded to put on the wizard's robe and give us this like historical telling of how wizardry became science. And
that's how you get remembered.
Yeah,
I'm gonna try that.
And like,
gotta try that.
yeah, it was just like by the time I left your house, I was like, whoa. And like, I don't know, what's it? Do you guys all live together? Like, are you all living in the house right now?
Bunk
like,
beds.
Yeah, like what's it?
You weren't kidding when you said that. Okay, that's
like,
awesome.
You should come
Okay.
visit us sometime. We got bunk beds.
That's awesome.
Like, what's it like? I mean, this is like, you guys are doing like something pretty phenomenal here. It's in like every day like a nonstop thrill ride, or is it just like a fairly normal living situation where you're all coding constantly?
Well, we're not always there. For the past few weeks, we've been in LA at Bill and Ted conferences. We've been this week mostly at the Game Developers Conference. Alex is going to be at South by Southwest next week.
The key is to transition what has previously been mostly bound up with me as a bottleneck, where if you look at the dock on my computer, most people can't even read the icons because I have art, music, code, video editing, animation, project management, like every type of program, the music I composed. That's not the way to make a finished game. That's the way to create a great prototype if you have an idea. But now what's happening is Eric's is taking over the programming. And there's been a few other people, Michael Stevenson, Charles Van Norman, who have done a ton of programming as well. And so we're trying to staff up so it becomes not just Eric's, but like a 4-person minimum team. We're trying to staff up so that art, we just got Gizmo, who's from Fabrausch Demo Scene crew in Hamburg. A lot of people said about the original stuff, hey, the art looks like bad. And I said, yeah, it's literally programmer art in a game about making programmer art. But don't worry, a good programmer artist is coming. His name is Gizmo, and he made a 95 kilobyte game, which if you guys get a chance to play a video in your next episode, or if you can pull one up, Krieger is a 95 kilobyte game engine, which looks like Doom 3, has self-shadowing, normal mapping, incredible art, all procedurally generated. The same way Minecraft like makes random levels, this generated textures from mathematical formulae that look better than ones made in Photoshop. So the crew that's coming together is, obviously most of us are here in the bunk beds, and it's crazy. And we go to a lot of conferences, and we're doing a lot of promoting. But we're not just going to be go around like high-fiving people and trying to get them to give us money for something we say we're going to make. My job will definitely involve a lot of going around and gathering support. But the next 6 months of our life pretty much means bunk beds and code. Actually, there's a new development. We're probably going to be hosted by someone very cool in the industry. I don't announce it until we actually are there and there's like a signed thing. But we're moving to some new offices. Nice. And thank you, people. That we'll talk about that when it happens. Right. And so production and going around, high-fiving people have to be balanced.